Over the next few weeks, we are going to be covering the 7 deadly sins. And today, the sin of the sloth, as I believe it is the gateway of all other sins. Dorothy Sayers defines it as such. She says that it is not merely idleness of the mind or laziness of the body, but the whole poisoning of the will, which beginning with indifference and an attitude of I couldn't care less, ultimately becomes the deliberate refusal of joy. Hebrews 5:11 calls this deliberate refusal of joy as when we become sluggish in our hearing, a sort of spiritual resistance to the voice of God. John Owen gives 4 characteristics of the sin of sloth. The first one, carelessness. Proverbs 24 says that the field of the lazy man is filled with thorns and thistle, because carelessness ultimately leads to negligence. Characteristic number 2, an unwillingness to act. Proverbs 20 says that the lazy man in the time of winter is unwilling to plow. So comes the time of harvest, he has nothing to pick, and so he begs, but he is left in need. An unwillingness to act, or a procrastination. Characteristic number 3, a half-hearted effort. Proverbs 26 says that the lazy man is like the hinges of the door. It goes back and forth, and so is the lazy man on his bed. He keeps rolling back and forth. Sounds a lot like me at 6 o'clock in the morning. Brian Hedges says this. He says that in the turning of the door upon its hinges, there is some motion but no progress. That this man, one day he is here, but the next day he is in the same exact place. One year he is here, and the next year he is in the same exact place. He says that it seems as though his endeavors are faint. He gets no ground by them. And get this, oh man, this really spoke to me. He is always beginning and never finishing his work. And finally, characteristic number 4. Do you become easily discouraged by any and every little difficulty? Every little bump in the road is a reason for you to say, oh, I give up. Oh, I quit. Friends, I have realized by studying the sin of sloth that is so much more than idleness of the mind and laziness of the body. To be honest, I found some of these characteristics in my own life. Is it true that at times I have been careless? Has at times I've been unwilling to act? Or do I at times give God a half-hearted effort? And oh man, has there been times in my life that because of a little difficulty I say, you know what, Jesus, I give up. Friends, if you have found yourself in some of these characteristics that I had just defined, do not fear, but join us next week as we further study of how we can overcome the sin of the sloth.
I surrender.